Hey guys, so I'm here on location in my bathroom. Actually, no, it's my parents' bathroom. I'm sorry it's like a mess behind me. Um, yeah, we're like leaving, so it's like clean the house before we leave type of deal. But I have to be on location for this because I have awesome news and awesome things that I want to share with you, especially with eating disorder recovery and stuff like that. So one thing that I have always struggled with my own recovery has been weight, and I always thought that I had to weigh myself. Like I have problems with compulsive overweighing because like my whole thing was like a numbers game. I always wanted to see the number go lower. But the thing is, eating disorders, it's never about the weight. It's never going to be satisfied when you reach a certain goal weight or whatever. Um, and one thing, like recently, I was like, oh, like I'll weigh myself less, it'll be fine, and the number won't trigger me because I'm not the same weight that I started out recovery in. My body has changed throughout recovery, and like even just seeing that can be like triggering in and of itself, seeing how my body has changed. And yet, the one thing that really like stuck out was the fact that I might say that it's not triggering. I might sit here and say, like, oh, it's okay. Like, I can weigh myself as much as I want and it's not going to trigger me because I'm at a solid place in my recovery. But the thing is, that's not always true. And I know that it is triggering for me because it has been something that has triggered me so many times. And even just knowing that me saying it's not going to trigger me isn't going to help. Like, I know that it is something that is triggering for me. And so I had to really make the commitment to stop weighing myself and to really, like, really uphold that. Like, there are days I walk around and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just want to get on the scale. But I have to remind myself that numbers mean absolutely nothing and that the number on the scale cannot tell me how I am as a person. It can't tell me about my personality, about my being. It can only tell me my body in relation to gravity, and it fluctuates based on so many different factors. You could be bloated, you could have water weight, you could have so many different things like affecting you that like your weight could be changing like crazy. And so the one thing I really had to commit to was I'm not going to weigh myself until I know that it's not going to trigger me. And I will like keep going, and I keep going. I'm like, oh, this isn't going to trigger me. And I'll think about weighing myself. And I'm like, no. If I am obsessing about that moment when I'm like, oh, it's not going to trigger me. Oh my gosh, I have to get on the scale. I have to figure out what I weigh. Then that is kind of triggering in and of itself because it is bringing the importance back to what the scale says. So the one thing, as I said, really working on not weighing myself, okay? And this is coming from a girl who'd weigh herself multiple times a day, and then every time that you weighed yourself multiple times at that individual like weigh-in, because obviously like the scale was broken, and God forbid you would get the wrong number because you gained like zero point 0.2 of a pound in 2 hours, like crazy. But that type of thing. But so the reason that I'm on location is I want to show you what my hard work has gone into and what I think is just hysterical because like you spend so much time weighing yourself and so much time engrossed in weight that it really does hinder your life and it takes so much more away. So I found this absolutely hysterical. I actually had stopped using this bathroom because of just the scale being out. It was triggering me. Now I'm using it because it's just so funny and such a wonderful thing in my recovery right now because it goes to show me that if you guys can see, I don't know how well you'll be able to see it. My scale has dust on it. It is, it has dust. Like, I don't know how well you can see it. Like, it's like down the center. Like, there's some dust right there. And there's dust up in the corner up here. You can see that. And there's dust all right there. Like, I haven't used my scale in so long that it's accumulated dust. That is like crazy. And so I come in to this bathroom and I'm like, oh my gosh, like that is awesome. Just another thing. So I encourage you all to one, fight the urge to weigh yourself because the number is not going to help. It is going to trigger you, even if you say, oh, it's okay, like I'm fine with this. Like that's not always gonna work. But try to resist the urge to weigh yourself, because let me tell you, it is so gratifying to have those days where you walk in and your scale is covered with with what is it called? Sorry, couldn't think of the word, dust. Because you're not using it and you're not giving it any power anymore. And I think that's so, so important. And that is what recovery has to be in your life. You have to be able to take the eating disorder and say, you want to know what? We're done. Put it on a shelf. It is your past. It is something that's happened and you're over with. And now it can accumulate dust, but you're not looking back. You are not going to, I mean, you can look back and say, ha ha ha, you're so dusty. Like, that's, yeah, but I don't know. You can if you want to. Feel free. But having that, like, this is a physical sign and saying, I'm not letting the eating disorder take over my life anymore. I'm not letting it dictate who I am. And I think that's so, so important, especially in the self-acceptance of recovery and being able to recognize that your self-worth and your value is not based upon what that scale says. It is based upon who you are as a person, who you present yourself as, and who you truly are in your being, your mannerisms, your personality. Um, so I encourage all of you to try that. Try not weighing yourself. Wait till it gets dust on it. Like, it's honestly the best feeling ever. So, yeah. I'm probably going to make another video after this. I'm making multiple videos right now just because I have the time and I feel like talking to you guys. Like, but anyway, so I hope all of you guys are well for right now. Yeah.